we've been doing this shit for 4 years, and every time we start this show, I forget how to fucking do it. You know?
Yeah, I saw you struggle like
I was staring at the
clicking
screen and I was like, which button do I fucking push? And I mean, we've done this like, damn near 150 times by now.
I can't really talk though, because one time I wanted to come in, there was some project that I was working on the side, and you had the backup computer here.
The porn computer.
The porn computer.
Yeah.
And it still runs pretty well for the
abuse it's taken.
gigabytes of porn it has downloaded, and the just jizz-soaked mainframe it's got going on. I thought that it was going to just go up in a puff of jizzy smoke, but I opened it up, worked.
Yep.
The stuff worked fine. My knowledge of the system was so incapable that I didn't succeed at recording that day. So the fact that you even get it, I bow
It's
your
the exact
knowledge.
same process every time, and I just space the fuck out. I don't know what it is, man. Hello, everybody.
Hi, peeps!
Season 4, Episode 3. This is your podcast for February the 27th, 2021.
How the fuck are you doing?
How y'all doing? As you might have heard, we're going to be talking about your favorite question to ask. University in Germany. Studying in German. Do I do it? Do I not do it? What's best, right? We're going to fucking talk about it.
Today, so we're recording on Thursday, which is the day I posted on Instagram, the Throwback Thursday. And that clip, I listened to that clip, and it just made me, it gets me going.
Yeah.
It gets me going thinking about the amount of fucking money that people piss away on college. The one guy commented on it. He's like, he's like, now that I look back on it, I should have gotten a business degree and taken lessons on the side. He's like, you should only do it if you get a full scholarship, but even then, maybe you just get a different degree and study on the side.
The thing is like, you're in a bubble. Being a musician's a bubble. Getting like an arts degree is a bubble, but being in the music world is a bubble.
Yeah, fucking bubbly boobly.
Yeah,
fucking booble.
You know what I mean? So like, you see what everyone else is doing, and you feel like that's how it's got to be. But also, one of the biggest problems about the music world and studying music anyway is also the people that are telling you the information. It's often outdated. At least that was my experience.
Absolutely,
Like
because they've been out of the fucking system for so long.
Yeah, and it's changing so fast, and it gets faster and faster. And I remember when I came to Germany like 10 years ago or something by now, it was standard back then, you got to read the What the Fach book. And I don't know if that book's changed, but already that shit, like about like train tickets and visas and like auditions and the process, most of it was outdated.
Right.
And the shit I was doing in 2014 with all that shit is now outdated. The process is different. It fucking changes. And you got to be careful because you're getting told stuff by other students, by like counselors and by professors, but like nobody's actually involved in it anymore.
Man,
and so it's a mind fuck.
We jumped fucking straight in today. Normally we got about a good solid
I feel like
15 minutes of bullshit.
I feel like we got a lot to get to. But you know what I mean? It's like and it's like when I studied, I remember the shit I studied. I studied so much about like neumes, and I remember I took a class where I learned about the process of making the paper that like neumes were printed on.
The vellum.
And like why the fuck would you need to know that shit? That seems like a very specific thing. It seems like they didn't have enough to pad these curriculums. Like, shouldn't it just be a 2-year degree then? Should it really be a 4-year degree if I have to learn about fucking neumes?
Well, look,
You know what I mean?
I actually didn't mind. Like, I liked that shit.
It was a whole class, man.
learning
I'm not talking about a section of a class. It was like Nooms 101, you know?
All right. Well, that is a bit.
We took a field trip, man.
And you took a field trip. Yeah, I don't think I took one field trip in all of my studies.
We
went
and looked at Schubert pianos, man. We did good shit.
Fucking way. That's awesome.
You
got more out it for your money than I got.
I don't know, man.
We didn't take a fucking field trip.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Schubert
we took
pianos.
Field trips, man. Yeah.
I see a Schubert
shit.
piano.
My allergies are starting up, dude. It's fucking.
It's
a bad time to have allergies because you're like in the supermarket coughing. Everyone thinks you're fucking Roni Danza and shit. It's like it's terrible. Like,
do you mean Tony Danza?
No, Roni Danza, dude.
What the fuck is Roni Danza?
It's the Rones. It's
Roni Danza. You're the best.
Today's a weird one, dude.
Pun maker ever. How?
Maybe Roni the Tiger. You would have gotten it. I don't. What other famous Tonys are there out there?
Just be honest?
Roni
Did
Braxton.
you hear this?
No. I just did this. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have. I don't know. We're derailing now.
I could never do that.
Yeah.
I could never do that. It's such a shame that you have such a talent and like that you have such a strong talent in something so fucking
worthless. Yeah.
worthless. It's not true though, because that's just a way of playing with words. And you write music, you
Sure.
write lyrics to music.
Yeah.
It's good that you're talented at it because
Think outside the box, man.
yeah.
I'm allergic to rye. I don't know. I think I talked about it on the podcast. I got hella rye allergies, and so I got to take an inhaler. And I forgot today, so if I'm coughing,
That's
don't worry.
right. That's what was doing your ribs.
Yeah, for years,
in
man. Yeah, like I
season
thought
one.
there was some sort of damage with the ribs, but then I went and I found out I was like massively allergic to fucking rye.
Yeah. I've never done it before. I've never had one of the tests.
Now
but
you should do it. You'd be surprised, man. Like I thought I was allergic to milk. I was sure because every day I'd have a coffee with milk. I'd go out the door and I would start fucking coughing.
Here's something.
But it was the fucking going out the door that was getting me.
All right. Here's something I want to rant on a little bit.
All right.
People, this is something. If you're guilty of it, go fuck yourself and then come back and be better. All right.
okay.
Don't forget the first step. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
But then come back and be better. People abuse the word or the phrase "I'm allergic to" way too much. People will say I'm allergic to this,
Yeah.
meaning I don't like that thing.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I thought I was having a reaction to it.
No. You would have an actual fucking medically diagnosable reaction.
Yeah, I was blistering when they put that shit on my arm. I was
But
exploding.
I saw somebody the other day say there was an air freshener,
Yeah.
and she said, I'm allergic to that.
Okay, that's weird. That doesn't even make sense.
No. And I'm thinking to myself, there's no fucking way you're allergic to that. You just don't like it. Just as valid, by
Yeah.
the way. Just don't say
but
you're
Mike,
allergic
this
to
is
it.
me. This is me and you getting old. This is me and you becoming old guys because the younger generation, right, which is like Gen Z, Zennials. I don't know what they're fucking called, but like they like to exaggerate, man. It's all about the exaggeration.
Yeah, but that's you are actually like you can actually be medically allergic to something.
Yeah, I know,
it's
man.
different.
Kids these days, fucking kids these days, going into debt. You know, okay, here's the thing about bringing it back down to universities, if I may. Like, we get asked this all the time. And Mike
all
and
the
I,
time.
we're gonna talk about this a bit, but I want to say a little prequel here. The thing is there's
when you said prequel, I only thought of
Pre-cum,
like, is
what?
it? No. I thought it's like, is that a like NyQuil?
Yeah,
Is that a
dude, I thought the
Mediquil?
same thing.
Is
That's
that a
why I
medicine?
stuttered, 'cause I was
A
like-
prequel.
I was like, prequel. Is that how you say that? That sounds like Dayquil or something.
Prequel is I guess right. There's a sequel and a prequel, but maybe like a
Like a prologue?
a prologue, a
Prologo?
prologo, right?
Yeah, we're on. Today's gonna be a weird one, people.
This is
I'm
gonna
fucking
be weird,
exhausted,
and I'm
but
gonna
we're here for you.
I'm gonna get fooked up.
Yeah?
I think
All
I
right.
just want to.
Yeah, okay.
I want to drink.
Well, go bananas,
I want to
dude.
go. I want to
Go
drink
straight bananas.
a lot.
All right. The thing
Anyway,
about, the thing about
the
university
pre-com,
talk,
go.
yeah, is everybody's process is different. And actually, before we get into universities, I would kind of like to jam on just you and me and our visas and stuff.
Yeah.
Because visas, you talk about universities, there's like, we could like break it up into categories, but like you talk about like the process of applying, auditioning, visas, actually living here, like costs of doing it, like what does it lead to, connections, like how do you get in? There's lots of things to talk about. And most people, I think, they get caught up at like the visa, you know, and they're afraid of that process or something like that. And my experience has been, I've gotten a visa in Leer, Oldenburg, Hamburg, Frankfurt, and Darmstadt. 5 cities I had to get a visa in, right? And it's been different in every place, the process, and it's been different based on the person I've gotten. I think you've had a similar experience,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah, so Mike and I, for a long time, where we got to know each other was in a city called Oldenburg up north near Bremen,
That one
where
was
Bex
like-
comes from.
That one was a son of a bitch.
Oh, yeah.
She-
Well, yes and no. There was the one that was bad. I can't
That was
remember her
mine.
name. Yeah, but it switched every once in a while. They would switch through the alphabet.
Yeah. Oh, did they rotate?
Yeah, most Ausländer. So Ausländerbehörde. We're going to be using that word today. It's the foreigner's office because I can't say foreigner's office. Yeah, they rotate. So they have like most Ausländerbehörden, they got like 3 agents and they will like rotate like your A through K and your whatever. And then every like year or two, they'll rotate through.
Right.
Yeah. So there was one in Oldenburg where all the foreigners in Oldenburg knew if you got that fucking woman, you better come fucking prepared, and it won't be good enough.
That's right.
It won't be good enough. And my experience with her was I showed up, and it was like my 4th year doing it.
You had her too.
Yeah. Like after 4 years, I had her, and my experience was that I knew what to fucking do by that point.
Right.
So I came with my health insurance. I came with my fucking like proof of like work, my like blah blah blah, all my shit, right? And she was just like, "Do you have a letter with your home address on it?" And I was like, "No." She said, "Come back once you have a letter with your home address on it," which I've never heard of that requirement. No one I knew has ever heard of that. So I did it, right? Had an appointment later, came back, and she asked for something else then. She's like, "Can you show me proof that you have a bank account?" I was like, "I can buy you something. I don't know the fuck you want." And like, she just was required this crazy shit. And then
I can go buy a gun and shoot myself in the fucking head here because that's what I need and want.
The next year, I had this really alternative woman, right? Like tattoos, nose piercings and shit. And I remember she didn't look at my shit. She was like, "Oh, yeah, I had you like 3 years ago. Yeah, anyway, stamp." Right? And so, like, that's how different the process is at one single place.
That's true.
And you better believe in different cities, it's that different.
Right.
And, like, there's the way it should be, and you read on the internet the way it should be, and anyone who has gotten a visa here in more than one place will be like, yeah, it's different. You go and you just try.
Well, so let's then jump in from there. Let's jump into student visa and what we know about that.
Probably the easiest one, I think, to get, honestly.
Probably the easiest one to get. That's right.
I mean, there's different types of visas, right? There's an artist visa. There's a visa if you have a job. Like, that's what you got, I think, because you came here with the Festival Talk.
That's right.
So you had a job. And then there was what I did, which was just like a freelancer visa, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's also artist visas.
But an artist visa is kind of like a freelancer visa.
Not
right?
really, because with an artist visa, you're pursuing like projects and auditions, right, and stuff like that. And with a freelancer visa, you are like working, and so there's different requirements that you have to prove, and these change city to city and year to year.
Yeah,
but they're different visas. But the student visa is, from what I've heard, and the people I do, because Mike and I talked to everyone we could talk to in the last week or two, because Mike and I didn't study in Germany, but of course a lot of our colleagues have, and also like I know people who are studying now.
Sure.
And the student visa from my end, for the people I talked to, was like one of the easier ones to get.
Yeah, absolutely.
Student visa and health insurance. If your student was like, oh yeah, check.
They didn't really say. I talked to no one who said that was the difficulty. The one thing that I thought was interesting, which I told you about when we were researching this, was the one said you have to. They asked them to prove an income of a certain amount. They said it was either 450 euros a month or 600
I heard that.
or whatever.
You have to prove basically a basic income.
Okay. So,
everyone I talked to had that, $400 to $500 a month.
Right. So there you go. So you have to do that. Now, what's weird is there's a catch-22. A lot of people in Germany use while they're students. There are these 450 euro jobs that you can get, right?
Right.
And they're really, really good because you don't work that much, but you still get that money that can cover the requirement for the visa. The catch-22 is you can't get one of those jobs without a visa. So a really good bit of practical advice from the one person I interviewed was you can just get your parents to say, I'm good for this money every month.
Yeah, co-sign on it.
Yeah, there's a form that you can fill out at the embassy. They've got it there. They just fucking sign, and boom, it's done. Look, and I'm sorry, your parents got to be able to at least try to cover that for you. I mean, if you are going to potentially save the amount of money that you could potentially save by studying in Germany, fuck, 450 a month is nothing.
Yeah, and and I'm going to say this 1,000 times during this podcast, but you will not figure out everything before you get on the plane.
That's right.
You have to accept that there's these weird kinks in the system. You know what I mean? There's so much bureaucracy in Germany and so much red tape that it's not like one system will change and the other one hasn't changed.
Right.
And then they don't communicate until the problem comes.
Exactly.
The thing, if I've learned nothing else in Germany, though, I've learned that there is a solution. There is a piece of paper that will solve your problem. You will just have to work to find it. It's not like America where you're just... Like, I had experience in America at the bank or at, like, the hospital or something. They're like, you're fucked.
No, this is
you're
much
fucked.
more...
That doesn't happen in Germany. But it's going to be a pain in the ass. But there is a solution to every problem.
Of course, it's like playing a video game, like one of those video games that has a story to it. And you go to one fucking master and you get to the page where they start talking back and forth.
It's like a quest.
Then you find out, fuck, I got to go to this place now.
Yeah, but you will solve it with everything. With your health insurance, with Social Security, with kids, with hospitals. Like, they won't let you, like, there is a safety net for everything.
Exactly.
And if you, like, there's not really a way to just fucking fail so much that there's like this downward spiral and you end up on the street.
But more than this, you talked about in that clip I posted on Instagram. If you aren't ready to be a little uncomfortable and take some risk, then you shouldn't be a fucking opera singer to begin with, right?
Yeah, because that's what the job is.
That's
No
what
matter
the
how
job is.
If you want to have this perfect plan and you want to just like comfortably go to work and sing everything, that doesn't exist anywhere in the world.
Exactly.
And the pandemic should have taught all of you that.
Yeah.
You know
so
what I mean?
look, if you are thinking about doing this, accept the fact from the very fucking beginning that you're going to get on that plane, like you said, without having everything figured out. And it's fine because you have 3 months that you can be in this country without everything figured out. You can just fuck around here for 3 months.
As an American, I think if you're other countries, it might be different, but like you definitely have some time. But the reason I talked about that was because you said you have to have a visa to get the mini job, and you find these things in Germany. It's weird, but somehow everybody works it out.
Yeah,
Everybody works it
sure.
out. But like I remember, to get a bank account, you had to have a job, but to get a job, you had to have a visa. But to get a visa, you had to have an apartment, or like there were these things where like it doesn't make sense, and somehow you figure it out. Like
That's right.
all you need at the end of the day is that agent to be like, all right, I see. Sign. You know, they'll
Signed
sign your
and
fucking
stamped.
paper. And then you're in. But nobody gets turned away. I've never heard of someone trying to get in and it's just like, no, I couldn't fucking
Dude,
figure it out.
I told the story a long time ago where I tried to get my unbefristete Visum, right?
Your unlimited visa. I guess.
Unlimited visa, right? And at the time, this is when my wife and I were just starting off, and we had no money, and she was studying, she wasn't working at all, so we only had my income, and I wanted to get it, and it was this lady in Oldenburg, right? And she said, and I said, well, I'm here because after you're here for a certain amount of time, I think it's 4 years, 4 or 5 years,
5 years, yeah.
and you have a fest contract, you can just get your unlimited visa. And then I went to her and she's like, oh, but is this how much you earn? I said, yes. And she's like, well, that's not enough money. I'm like, yeah. You're fucking telling me it's not enough money. What are you mad at me for? She's like, no, you don't understand. You can't support a family of 3 on this. I can't give you your visa. And I said, what? So it's harder to get the fucking visa when I have less money? Shouldn't it be the opposite way around? But anyway, it wouldn't have I'm still to this day certain that bitch just used some kind, like she just had some
She
kind
just
of
wanted to make it hard.
rule in her head that she applied to me.
Yeah, and like I'm also still trying to get an unlimited visa. And when I first came here, I had heard all the stories and stuff. So I went. A big part of Germany is you got to have health insurance, but you also got to pay into the Rentenversicherung. You got to pay into the social program.
Yeah.
And as a freelancer with a freelance visa, I actually don't have to. Right? I don't have to. With certain contracts when I work with the theater, I do. But I remember my second year, I went there to the Rentenversicherung. I went there and I was like, do I have to pay you? And they're like, no. And I was like, will this fuck me? And they're like, no. And I was like, hey, are you gonna fuck me?
Right.
And they're like, no.
You gonna fuck me?
Yeah, and I went to the
fuck me?
foreigner's office, you know, and I was getting my visa. And back then, they would only give me one for like a year or two. Because with a freelance visa, it's always like every year.
Let's
every
see
year,
how
every
it
year.
goes, right.
Yeah, and then after like 5, 6, 7 years, it's like I'm on 3 years now, but they still won't give me the unlimited one. And the reason why was after 5 years, I go in there and they're like, oh, you haven't paid in the Rentenversicherung. You can't get an unlimited visa. I was like, you fuckers told me. They're like, well, maybe they told you that, but no.
You see,
like in
they're not
Frankfurt.
communicating.
Yeah, and so this year, or in 2022, I'm going to go to Darmstadt. I'm going to try it again. Darmstadt Ausländerbehörde. I don't know if you've heard about it.
They're great.
No.
What?
No, they're so fucked right now. They're on like national news, dude.
What? Why? What happened?
I don't know, the pandemic or some shit, but they're like, like if you get an appointment, like earliest appointment's like 9 months out. It's fucked right now, dude. It's so fucked that the national politicians are like, Darmstadt, get your shit in order. Get your fucking shit in order.
No, during the pandemic, I once had an appointment, and it was the best appointment I've ever fucking had.
You should look it up, dude. It's fucked right now.
Are you serious? Crazy.
But listen, everybody has their visa story, right? And
Wait, just let me give a nice little shout out to the Darmstadt, because they're getting some shit maybe right now.
Getting a lot of shit, man.
They were the nicest people I've ever dealt with.
Yeah.
Hands down. Hands down the nicest people. And during the pandemic, normally you would go there and take a fucking number and sit in an unlimited, undefined hell until you wanted to go in, which is every Ausländerbehörde I've ever been in, right? But during the pandemic, there's a police officer outside saying, who's got an 8 o'clock appointment?
Yeah.
And you'd say, here, And he would do it right at 8 o'clock. He'd say, okay, come in. You go in, you walk straight up into the fucking office.
It's rare, dude.
I'm
The
like,
unicorn.
why-
The unicorn.
The unicorn.
Yeah, and like, look, I mean, we could swap stories all day about visas. I had one where I had to stand outside all night in Frankfurt in the middle of December to get an appointment. You do what you got to do. And bigger cities, it's sometimes easier, it's sometimes harder. I've heard small cities are harder, easier. It's like there are no fucking rules with it, right?
That's right.
So, again,
The only rule is you need a student visa to study in
I'm going to
Germany.
reiterate. You go step by step, right? So the first thing you want to do if you want to study in Germany is you got to get the audition, right? And most people I know get into a school or get in auditions by usually getting some study time with a professor first.
Absolutely.
So you got to be in Germany to work in Germany, I think. My opinion has always been stuff moves fast in Germany. And again, I will say that if you think Germany, because a lot of Americans that have never been here talk to me like Germany's some golden land of opportunity. And they're like, oh, if I'd gone to Germany, it would have happened. I was like,
Right.
really? Do you think not everyone in the fucking world knows Germany's a place to be? When I go to auditions, there's so many like people from China and Italy and Russia and Spain and Brazil and Chile
Yeah, they're
and
all-
Canada
all over
and
the place.
Americans. There's tons of fucking Americans here. Everybody knows. Everybody knows you're not entitled to succeed just because you made the trip.
Right.
You know what I mean? You have to have that ambition and that drive along with your skill to make it, but you have to fucking try.
Right.
And Germany is a low risk place to try. America's
Absolutely.
the same. There's so few jobs in America that it's also extremely difficult. It's extremely competitive, but the risk you take,
The risk is so
you take
high.
in taking out $100,000 fucking dollars in debt is so high. And in Germany, the worst thing that can happen is you got to buy a plane ticket home for $300 and
Yeah.
say, that sucked. You can go home today. You know
Yeah.
what's the problem with that?
None at all.
You know,
you can always pull the ripcord and go.
In one day, man, just click, click, click. You're home.
Look, so I mean, that's also what I heard is that it's expected. People are expecting. Oh, I got a teacher will say I got an email from a student today. They want to study here. They sent me some links. Sounds good. Yeah, let's have a lesson.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things is getting your foot in the door. It's the same in America also, though,
Yeah.
I feel like. If you can get a foot in the door
I always
and
did
have a
that.
teacher
I
that
always
wants
did
to
that.
study with you,
They'll
the
be
oth-
sitting at the audition.
they're sitting at the audition.
They
plus-
decide who gets in.
Exactly. They decide who gets in along with their colleagues. And if they say, you know what, I really want to study with this one, that'll be my student. I want to study with this one. The other teachers aren't going to actively stand in your way in their way unless you fucking suck.
Yeah.
Right? You still got to be good. That's the other thing.
And the other thing to remember too is like, so you gotta, so you do whatever the fuck works for your life, okay? But you gotta come out here and you gotta go sing for some people. But keep in mind that most universities, most of the people I talked to that studied here, most universities have a policy that in your first year, anything goes with language,
Yeah.
right? But by your second year, you gotta have B2. You gotta have a European level
Right,
B2
that's right.
level of German, which is speaking German. It's maybe not perfect German, it's not business German, but you better have a pretty good level of German. Maybe some schools are in English or whatever, doesn't matter.
Right.
The syllabus, life, you can't beat the system. If you're gonna study in Germany, like imagine studying in America but not speaking English.
Now,
it makes
look-
no goddamn sense. It's the same in Germany.
That's right. You really, in the end, in almost any school,
Yeah.
I mean, you would assume that the bigger schools there are, that's where they would be more accepting of speaking English. But I've also heard some horror stories about, and a lot of this is anecdotal, but I mean, it shouldn't be completely dismissed. Anecdotal evidence is that there were some students who couldn't hack it because they couldn't communicate with their teacher well enough.
Yeah, there's the human side of it. There's the
Right.
human side of it. These people are German. You're in their country, and they're not going to want to hear you come into their office day and be like, "I homework do," and they're like,
Right.
"The fuck are you talking about?" You
Right.
know, like it's you have to be realistic about it, right?
Not only that, but sorry, if you want to be an opera singer, you better be taking language seriously.
Yeah.
Like it can't be something that you put off.
Yeah, I feel like honestly, you got to at least speak a second language a little bit, even if
Yeah.
you stay in America.
Yes.
If you've never, because for me, I remember the day that I said a sentence in another language and it actually meant something instead of a translation, you know?
Right.
Like my French is shit. My Italian's okay. My German's like obviously good because I live here. So in Italian, sometimes it feels kind of real. In German, it's like, it feels real. I talk
Yeah.
to people in German. I have friends in German.
You have Ausländerbehörde
But
appointments
when I
in German.
like sing Carmen and shit, it's like I'm just saying the words, but it's like I've never said those words to someone and seen them react. So
Right.
they're always fake.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's really important important to like at least experience that on some level. So you got to take that
100%.
seriously. It's such a big thing to talk about, but I feel like you got to come, you got to audition, you get into the school, you better have some German skills already. The visa you'll figure out. The health insurance also, there's a million ways to get health insurance in Germany. As a student, it's all easier.
The good thing is that they basically operate on a straight up conservatory model where you're not part of a larger institution where you have to take gen ed courses. I did not talk to one person who said they were taking a fucking like geology course.
No, because okay. Let's talk about, so we'll come back to some of the information about like the process, but let's talk about some of the like being a student in Germany, right? When I lived in Oldenburg.
Wait, beer first. Fuck. I need
Go get some beer. I'm going to keep talking then, I guess. When I lived in Oldenburg, when I met Mike, I lived in what was called a WG, right? Wohngemeinschaft, I guess. And what it is in Germany was very common. I mean, this exists, of course, in the States, especially in places like New York. But basically, you rent a room, right? There's like 4 or 5 rooms in these apartments. It's like all students, and you rent a room. And in a place like Frankfurt, a room is going to be $400. I mean, unless you get a really nice place, obviously it's more. In a place like Oldenburg, a room was $200 or something like that a month. And there are no dormitories. German universities are always integrated into the city, and they're extremely practical. It's not like a university in America where there is all these, like a campus with a gym and stuff. The buildings of a German university are usually integrated into the city so well that you don't even know that they're a university. You know, you
Which
take
is
the
awesome,
bus,
by the
you
way.
live in apartments. There is no meal plan. There's no dormitories. There's student housing, but they're just apartments that are reserved for students. But you have to have a job, and you have to have an apartment, and it's part-time.
Which is cool because you're living life. You're not a
extremely
fucking
practical.
student who's practicing for life. You're kind of living life also.
And so if you get into the school, you're going to be paying basically $500 a semester average. Right?
A semester? I thought it was a year.
No, it's a semester.
Well, fuck it. Who cares? 500 semesters, nothing.
Yeah, like $1,000 a year, right? So you're paying $500 a semester, and some people I knew got a full ride scholarship, which was like $500, it was $1,000 a year, right? So the expectation is, and so textbooks also, you don't buy textbooks. They're online, or they're in the library, or if you do, it's like $8.
So
you know
I
what mean?
didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's fucking unreal.
Yeah. So there are no additional costs. You just pay $500 a semester
There's
to
no
go.
Norton
and so
anthology worth $150 fucking dollars.
And so the expectation is that that you work. And so Mike brought up there's something called a mini job, which is basically you can make $450 a month, and you can't exceed $450, and then you don't have to pay taxes, right? Or you can be a Werkstudent, which is then different. You work 20 hours a week. It's fewer taxes. You pay some taxes, but you can make more than $450. It's about the hours per week.
Right.
But you can also work full fucking time if you want. Just then, you're not going to get the benefits of being a student.
Right.
Being a student brings benefits like cheaper health insurance or like certain types of housing situations. Like if you're labeled in the German system as a student.
you
But
can still get the free travel though.
Oh yeah, like on trains and stuff.
Yeah,
you
so
mean.
that's something that is worth knowing. Like if you're a student, you travel on trains for free.
Right. So I'm just trying to paint a picture for people.
You're
'cause-
painting it
'cause
like Picasso, dude.
I lived with students, but everybody I talked to had the same experience. You go to school part-time, you have a part-time job in a supermarket, or you teach voice lessons, or in the bigger cities like Berlin, there's some regional opera, but in the smaller cities, there's not. You have a WG, you live in an apartment, one room of an apartment, and that's it. Right, so you have your school half-time, you have your side job, you have your apartment, and you live like a frugal life. Boom. There's no textbooks. It's not glamorous. There's not like a gym and shit at your university. It's integrated into the city, and you need to fucking speak German, right? And then boom, that's it. You're in. The visa and the health insurance and stuff, like that's fine if you're a student. And talk to people. There's a community, and if you haven't Googled, foreigner health insurance in Germany, and you're like, how does it work? Like, you fucking Google it.
Yeah, it's so easy
there's
to
people,
find out
There's
about.
people that devote entire blogs to this shit that Mike and I are just jamming on right now. You know what I mean? Like, you can find the answer to literally everything.
Yeah.
And it's none of it's too hard. I did it in the dumbest way possible. And like I literally have never heard someone who took a worse path than I did. And it's like it worked out,
Yeah.
I did zero planning. I literally was like, I'm going to Germany.
That's kind of what I did too. When I first moved, I had no I just thought I could stay. I didn't even know about the 3 months. I just tried to open up a.
You thought you could just like move to Germany and live
Well,
here?
I literally after two days of being in Dusseldorf, I thought to I said I should get a bank account.
Right.
So I went and I'm like, hey, I'd like a bank account. And they're like, okay, what's your address? I'm like, well, I'm staying at somebody's house. And they're like, okay, can I see your Ausweis? I'm like,
what?
what Ausweis?
Which is his ID. Your ID
And
for
I had
living.
no idea. He's like, okay, look, you got some work to do.
Mm.
You got to go do a couple things
Yeah.
before you can even think about coming in here again.
And I think of that rant that you posted online. I think I also talked about, the fact that like if you do all this stuff, it's like the opera system's still fucked. Audition fees are like $100. There's like agent fees and shit.
That's right.
I'm just going to take, like, just as I think about it, I'll take this point to mention that audition fees are illegal in Germany.
Right.
You cannot charge someone to audition. So if you're a student here and you're actively auditioning, then you take a train ride, which if you plan well, which fuck trains. If you have no money, there's buses here. And the buses here are not Greyhound buses.
Right.
There used to be Mein Fernbus and Flixbus, but I think they became one thing now. I think
Okay.
there's just Flixbus now. But they have internet, they have bathrooms, they have snacks and coffees. It's really nice. And I took the bus once from Berlin to Zurich for $5.
That's absurd.
Yeah, you pay with your time because the bus stops a lot. And then, of course, in Europe, you'd be surprised. I stayed in a hotel in Berlin once for $40. That was like brand new everything.
Yeah.
You can do auditions for pretty cheap, and usually if it's a legit audition, they'll give you a confirmation that you went. And if you didn't get one, you can ask for one, but then you deduct it from your taxes.
We should start an entire segment called Jared's audition stories or something. Jared has more fucking
the road, man.
interesting audition stories than anybody else in the entire fucking world. I'm convinced of it.
Yeah, it's most people I've met, their greatest strength is also the greatest weakness. And I've always had this like I'm just gonna go part of my personality,
Yeah.
and there's a strength in that, but also it's fucking dumb a lot of the time.
Well, wait, how do we get? You said, audition fees.
Yeah.
There are sometimes where you have to pay the pianist, but they'll gladly pay a pianist for their
I've only heard
sight
of that
reading.
for agents.
Yeah, that's what I mean. For
Yeah,
agents,
'cause
not
agents,
in a house.
Agents get around. Yeah, houses can't charge, but agents will get around it because they have to like quote unquote rent the venue. And so I've paid as much as $50 sometimes, like 20 for the pianist, 30 for the rental of the venue.
Yeah.
But again, though when you pay, they're very good about giving you this bescheinigung, this like
You deduct it from your
this
store-
bestätigung, whatever that like this confirmation that you can deduct it from your taxes.
Yeah.
Crack open that beer, man. That looks like a dark one.
It is. It's the German Pale Ale. I figured since we're talking
Shit.
about
Which one's that? What's that?
Deutschland today
What's
that
it
you
called?
can do it. The German Pale Ale.
No, that's not the name of it.
Yes, it is. Foundation 11.
That's the name of it. All right. 2011. Man, I can't fucking
Lies das
see.
mal auf Deutsch.
No, man. 2011. Somewhere in a small apartment in Munich, two aficionados with their first new homebrew kit are experimenting with malt and hop varieties from across the globe. Their goal, a beer that will revolutionize the world of German beer. Foundation 11 was the foundation stone for Crew Republic and the German craft beer revolution. This is like the beer they made, man.
Oh my god, this bottle? This
That
is the one?
Dude, that one. Tasting. Classy and fruity, light-bodied, and fruity bitterness with a pleasant hint of malt. How many times do you put fruity in
Seriously,
one?
I was going to say this
Classic
is the
and fruity,
fruitiest
light-bodied and
this is
fruity.
the
Goes well
fruitiest
with
description
fruit.
I've ever heard.
Drink it if you're feeling fruity. You're not going to pour it for me. I
Wow, I couldn't reach your thing.
I thought this was a dark one, but this is a
Nice and light.
pale ale, I guess you said, huh?
Oh man.
Yeah, okay. So, look. Cheers.
Cheers to you.
Okay.
Dude, I've heard all kinds of. I was generally impressed with a
nice.
lot of the stuff that people were telling me about the system.
Hmm.
I've always said there's a lot of fluff that you have to do
Yeah.
in the American system, that it doesn't seem like that exists as much in the German system. But then again, on the other side, it seems like the cutting down on the fluff, they cut down on some important things too. I don't know if you thought that when looking all this stuff up also.
Yeah. I mean, it's tricky. And like I said, ultimately you do what's best for your fucking life. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I'm gonna talk about what you want to talk about, but I want to just put in here real quick.
But I want to talk about what I want to
No,
talk
because
about.
I have to say this before I forget, but I won't forget your thing. But like, the thing you have to remember is because it's so cheap, you're not valuable to the university as a student. They don't fucking need you.
Right.
So if you are fucking around, they will fucking fail you.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard to flunk out of an American school because you're financially so valuable to them.
Yeah.
But in Germany, it's like you get to your second year and you're like, oh, I didn't learn my German. They're like, well, then get the fuck out, right? And so it's way more hardcore with like, if you fail, you're fucking out.
True, but
what you're talking about is
so I knew people in America at CCM who in their undergraduate, when applying for an undergraduate, you take the theory test, and they didn't do well, so they didn't get in because of their theory. They were told that specifically by the teacher. Your audition was great. You sucked at theory. Bye. Right?
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
Here, they say theory basically is like you have to, if you fail the theory test, and this was at a major university, at a major one, if you fail the theory test, you have to take it again, maybe the next day or the same day. And if you fail that again, they basically say, we still need 20 singers.
Yeah.
We'll just take you guys even though you suck ass.
Okay, so let's talk about that because that's what you were kind of getting at is I would say the training in America is way better than the training in Germany. Yeah.
It seems so.
Yes. So, I mean, from everything I've seen, the training, because it's so competitive in America, there's such a high caliber, there's so few jobs and positions. And I mean, the training is just good. I had very good training in theory and history. I had great teachers that were like performing on big stages and stuff.
Totally.
Like I had good stuff. And that is not the experience in Germany. Like my composition teacher was like a composer on film scores, you know? And in Germany, it's people that just kind of fucking teach, you know? And so if I could go back in time and do it again, what I would have done is I would have probably tried to take 2 years of like working a job, and I would try to take German lessons. I would find a good teacher that could teach me how to sing. I would find someone, and there's so many people that would tutor. I tutor people on theory and history and shit.
Of course.
You know? Like I would find someone to tutor me on like the first 2 years of theory and shit like that, just to make sure I had a really good foundation. You'll still learn it in Germany, but it's really hard to learn it in German. Because German music stuff still fucks me up sometimes. They don't use the Italian words. They use German words. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you better at least have it down in English before you start trying to learn it in fucking German. Then I would go to Germany. I would try to get a bachelor's, or I would get a bachelor's in America. It's okay to have 30 grand of debt. That's manageable. You know, 30, 40 grand is manageable.
It is.
Yeah, it's better not to. But
if you have a job, if you have a job and you're paying rent, you have enough on the side to school yourself in the proper way.
But the thing is also, Germany is not so big on the 30-year-old student, I also heard.
Oh, yes, not at all.
I also heard that they want singers with potential. Yeah. You know, they don't want young professionals. They want more raw young singers. So you don't want to wait too long.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Okay, that brings me to another thing. A story I heard repeated from students is they really try to push you into bigger rep quickly.
Yeah, here in Germany.
Yeah, a lot of people, master's degrees aren't as common in Germany. A lot of times after your bachelor's, you can go and work. But, there are people who definitely do their master's.
Yeah.
It's not like it's uncommon.
Yeah.
But they want you out there and working as soon as you possibly can.
Yeah, in the States, there's the bachelor's and the master's and the artist diploma and shit.
Doctorate.
But in Germany, it's bachelor's, maybe a master's. They have something that's called like a concert exam that's similar to an artist diploma, but it's pretty rare that people do that because it's like, why the fuck are you still doing that? But German universities these days, you also see a lot of young artist programs going away at opera houses.
That's right.
Because they just form collaborations with the local university.
Exactly.
Like I think in Stuttgart, there is no more open studio. There's no more young artist program. I think they collaborate with the university.
Well, that's what Darmstadt does with Frankfurt. Also, we've had students come and do smaller roles at the theater,
and so you see that more and more. That it's like, well, let's cut out the whole opera studio thing and let's just not pay students to sing on our stage.
Exactly.
You know, like fuck. But
whatever. That's a really good look. So that's a plus for these things.
Yeah.
You get to sing a role on a professional opera stage because they need that.
Yeah.
And they'd rather pay someone who is a good potential person but doesn't have the stage experience to try out a role here. I like that aspect of it.
Yeah.
I think the young artist programs are sometimes things that you can get a little caught in.
Yeah. Sure.
If instead you have like an actual role.
Yeah.
On your fucking resume from an actual opera house, and before you're done studying, when that means you're done studying and you've got some pace going.
It will fast track you. It's really hard to come to Germany and break in. You know what I mean? But if you're in a university, it's a real safety net way to just kind of like work your way into the system.
Yeah.
In the way they expect you to be, in a way they recognize. You know what I mean? No, it's really good. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. At the end of the day, you're in charge of your shit. There's no perfect situation. The training in America is really, really good, but it's very expensive. The training in Germany is not so good, but it will probably lead you to being on stage faster, which is your goal.
Exactly.
You know, like it's
and it's still fun. It's still good, and of course that's a completely subjective thing. There are great teachers in Germany. There are,
sure.
But I would say
they got gurus here too, man.
Absolutely. And on average, though, I would say the teaching in America is fucking top. It's really, really good. But in Germany, you can find the right teacher and go study there, and you won't break the bank for it. That's a big thing. But that takes some research. That takes some legwork. Excuse me.
Chug that beer, dude. Did you like it?
Yeah, it was pretty good. It wasn't,
but also
wasn't my favorite ever.
Also to throw back, you drank like you liked it. Also to throw back to something that Mike said earlier, like about them getting you to sing bigger rep and stuff like that. Like the opera system in general is rigid as far as your voice. You know, they will put you in a box. It's different than if you study, like, I don't know, if you could study pop singing or something. They might not do that as much. But in the opera world, like my freshman year, I was 18, 19 years old. I had never sung before that, right? Like I switched to singing in university, and they were like, "You're a Verdi baritone." It's like, why the fuck would you tell me that at 19 years old?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? You fucked me up for so long, you know? Fucking teachers. But of course, the Fach system, where did that come from?
Right.
Fucking Germany. You better believe they're pretty hardcore about that
course.
here. And they'll label you hard, and there's less exploration here. You know? Because like Mike said, like I talked about the Noom classes and shit, and I joked about that, but the thing is one advantage of American universities is you get to explore. I took vocal jazz and shit, you know.
Absolutely. You don't have a fucking ghost of a chance of doing that here.
No, here it's like, let's get your fucking shit done and get you out there.
And
you're an opera singer.
And that's a shame because, okay, so I did say, at one point I said, yeah, you don't, look, I might sound like I'm contradicting myself. I don't mean to do that, but this is a complicated issue. So you might contradict yourself. I said, yeah, there are a lot of classes that you don't need to take to become an opera singer, but the problem is, to become a well-rounded opera singer, you need to be a well-rounded person.
Yeah.
You have to have enough life experience to be able to communicate something.
Sure.
And the thing is, I took a class on the 7 wonders of the ancient world at my university during my undergraduate. I took a class on the psychology of children's literature. Both of these classes are something I remember. The children's literature guy was a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
The guy was an absolute idiot. But we read cool books.
Yeah.
And we talked about something that made me think about life more. That made me engage in things that then made me a better, more rounded person. I think it's important to educate yourself all the time.
Yeah, and like I said, we can go round and round in circles because there's no right way to do it, because what better way is there to grow as a person than traveling to another culture?
Well, yeah, that's the biggest. So
you know what I mean?
I just sat and I kept making a bunch of pros and cons, and one of them is fucking
seeing the other system. You already know what the American system
is. And is seeing the world. There's no replacement for that. You cannot do it any other way than by seeing it.
No.
And by learning a language.
And also, if you live here for a year, you will see the superficial differences.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of hate talking to people who are in their first 6 months here because they're like, Germans do this, Americans do that.
I can't believe I have to take my bottles back.
Yeah. It's like, fuck, shut up. Like, I know, you know, but it's like you have to be here for years and years and years before you see the deep differences. Right. And then you get to a point where you're like, oh shit, I am American, and the deep shit I actually can't change.
Right.
You know, like there's this deep, and then you start to have this perspective on yourself.
Right.
And it takes a long time. And 4 years studying a bachelor's degree here is a good amount of time to fucking figure that out.
Absolutely.
I have found 3 years is the breaking point for people that come here.
Could be. I can't remember anything. At that point, after 3 years, I went through a breakup or something like that, which destroyed my life. So that was difficult. So I can't separate my coming into a person personhood with Germany and my Americanness away from that time because that happened at the same time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
just
probably
people
jumped
I know,
over it without knowing it.
And people we've known, I'm not going to say names on this, but like a lot of people that come here, they're here for 2-3 years, and that's a point where it's like you got to face the fact that you fucking live here. I mean, you moved to Germany. And like the first 3 years, most people can do.
Right. Most
people do 3 years, but I find it's like relationships. They say like 3, 5, and 7 years.
Yeah.
It's like the same in the country. If you make it like to 3 years, you're gonna have there's a fork in the road.
Yeah.
And everyone realizes it because you start like I tell people all the time. Like my German friends will be like, "What's it like in America?" I'm like, "You got to understand. My perceptions of America are from 2012.
Right.
That's when I left, and since 2012, I've spent a total of like 6 weeks in America."
Isn't that crazy?
Because I don't go back very often, right? And so when I talk about shit, I have to think about it. I'm like, that might not be true. Like Mike came in here and you brought, what did you bring?
Oh, yes, hard seltzer.
And like he's like, seltzer. And I was like, seltzer water? He's like, no, seltzer. It's all the rage in America. And I'm like, I have no idea.
Yeah, people. Coors makes it. Bud makes it. I
don't know what that is. You know,
they all have
I don't know. So like, I've been here for so long that I don't know. You know, I don't know. And you start to feel that, I think, around 3 years, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, totally. And that's when a lot of people tap out of Germany.
3 and then 7. Because, 7 years, you got to be like, am I fucking living here forever?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck's going on here, you know?
Look, like I said, there are all kinds of pros and cons in the system, but you cannot get over that experience pro.
No.
That is the biggest fucking thing.
Yeah, the experience.
You get an experience that you couldn't. It's funny.
That money can't buy.
You don't even have to pay money for it. It's barely money here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the thing is, the one thing I never really got, or the one thing I never really grasped when I was in America was we have no immediate or close connection to other cultures. We have American culture.
Yeah, Canada's not that different. And then, like, you go to tourist Mexico.
Right, you go to tourist Mexico, and only if you really... Like, you go to tourist Mexico, and if you ever experience any real Mexico, you are one of a sliver of the population down on the border that actually experiences it. But here, you're not. It's not like you would just come and experience German culture.
Yeah.
You would experience...
Oh, yeah.
Within Germany, you would experience different German cultures and then Turkish culture, because there's a huge Turkish population.
No, travel too.
And then you
Paris
travel
is a 3-hour train ride from here.
Paris is a 3-hour train ride. The Netherlands is nothing. Poland is right there.
London's
Denmark.
like a 90-minute flight.
For 10 euros.
Yeah, for Ryanair for 10 euros. You can fly to Rome for $5. I saw a flight for Rome for $5, 1 hour flight or something from here.
You could do day flights.
I drove to Prague on a whim once, you know? I was just like, let's go to Prague. Like 3-4 hour drive.
What are your drawbacks then? What are your cons?
Of studying in Germany.
Yeah, from what you know about the system. I'm going to get another beer. Tell it I'm listening.
I would think it's the training.
Do you see how I have to get out of here?
Yeah.
Because the thing doesn't move, I have to like hump.
Yeah, you're doing some real
I got to like do a
humpy
fucking
shit.
Like a gyration of the hips to get up out of
Well,
this
I want to
seat.
answer that when you're back. I'm going to plug our
sponsors.
Not our sponsors. I'm going to plug our sponsor podcast, right? Okay. So Mike and I'm going to answer his question as soon as he gets back here. He's getting the next beer, I guess. So on the Secret Sponsor podcast today, Mike and I are going to talk about our first year in university. Oh, one of those beers, the Normies. Okay,
yeah,
I see.
Normie.
Okay. Well, then I don't need one. That's all
Unless
you.
You want a seltzer?
Nah, that's all you. Well, I'll take a seltzer.
Yeah, let's do a seltzer.
Oh, jeez. Okay. The fuck was I saying? Oh, on the Secret Sponsor podcast, we're going to talk about our first year at university. I actually don't know about Mike's year. I had a crazy first year.
You have a crazy every year.
I know, but it was insane. It was nuts. And people will think I'm making it up, but I'm not. It's just how it went down. So we're going to talk about that. But anyway, what was your question? Your question was
your cons. What are your cons? Your drawbacks?
I think it would have to be that the training does seem kind of one-dimensional. You know, I talked to a lot of people that have studied in Germany, and they kind of all have the same view about singing and stuff like that. There seems to be a German technique, a German system, a German mindset for it. And that would be my biggest fear about studying here.
Yeah, I mean,
there wouldn't be a lot of contradiction You know, like in university, like I remember when I got my master's, one singer was teaching up and in, and one teacher was singing down and out. You know, and there was all this like, there were all these like contradictions and dramatics and lyrics and like there was all this shit. And I don't know. In Germany, sometimes I feel like it's a bit more neutral.
Okay, I get, yeah.
Like on both, like you don't get both ends. It's a bit more like, wow, like this is how we do it. This is the system. This is what we do, and then you figure it out on your own once you're
I
professional.
get that.
You know?
I get that.
But
yeah.
I can't think of a lot of cons. I kind of had to dig for that one, but otherwise, I don't really know.
My big con is,
Yeah.
so I spoke to a couple people about this, and this was, again, a unified view.
Yeah.
When you go, you take German diction
Yeah.
throughout the entire course.
Okay.
They do not teach
Oh.
fucking English, Italian, or French diction. You take Italian and French,
Yeah. Okay.
but you do not take Italian and French diction. They
that's
will
pretty
spend the
big.
most time
Yeah.
on German diction.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is... And forget IPA.
Yeah.
They don't even touch IPA.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I only took cursory English diction.
Yeah. Yeah.
I couldn't IPA English very, very well because it's not the language that opera happens in the most.
Now in Germany,
but
it's-
Italian and French
Yeah.
is right up there with German. So why the fuck
Yeah.
aren't they teaching Italian and French
that's
diction?
pretty bad. But that's what I mean is like if I could create a curriculum, right? What I would want is that you like study for 2 years in America. You study German, you study voice, you study theory and history and diction. 2 years. Find people that like you could find like 4 tutors and teachers to teach you all that shit for way under the price of a university, right? Like,
Way.
you know, collect a base amount of knowledge. Come to Germany at the age of 20, I guess you'd be at that point if you started at 18. Get a bachelor's and you'll be fucking golden, right? I mean, that to me
Absolutely.
is the best system. Come here with 2 years of private fucking knowledge. Come here, get their certification, get on stage at a big house, and fucking grow, you little trees, you know?
You little
You
seedling.
little sprouts.
The thing is, though, people would say like, "Oh, but what about I'll be 2 years behind my competitors?" No,
No, that's not how this fucking
Germany's-
works.
Germans take advantage of this freie soziales Jahr, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
This fucking like they or not, that's freie soziales Jahr is a different thing. Like you can actually go and work at a place, and it's like an official thing. But they'll just take a year off and go fuck around,
Nah, it's expected. Yeah. Like, but
which is amazing.
And the thing is the average with a bachelor's degree, you usually see people finishing their bachelor's in Germany is around 24. In America, you like 24, 25, you finish a bachelor's in Germany. Master's is like usually a bit later, 26, 27. I see a lot of people finish their master's, but because they don't start till like 20,
Right.
You know, and then they take a bit longer, they take some time off, whatever. But there's not this rush. I had a master's degree at 22. That's fucking crazy.
That's fucking crazy.
I was 22 with a master's.
How did you do that? That doesn't even make sense. What time did you start your undergrad? No, that doesn't make sense. Undergraduate's 4 years. When did you
18,
start?
19,
At
21.
16?
No,
There's no way.
I graduated university at 17. I had,
What? You
Oh, no,
graduated
sorry.
university.
I graduated high school at 17 because my birthday was in August. I can't remember what it's called, but at my high school, you could take these like electives that counted for
Yeah.
What's
they're
the
called
what's the 2-year degree called?
AP classes, advanced placement classes.
Yeah, but
and then
they-
you could get
they-
college credit. For
Yeah,
it.
so I would go to the community college, and then they counted for the associate's degree.
Right.
So then when I entered university, most of my gen ed was kind of taken
Ah,
care
cool.
of. And then I took.
I only did one AP
my
class.
my school was on a quarter system, and I would go to school every summer. I would do summer school, and so
Oh.
I knocked the bachelor's out in like 2.5, 3
So you
years or
just
something
fucking
like that.
plowed through.
I just plowed through, man. And then I started my master's at 21, finished at 22, and then turned 23 like 2 months later or something like that.
Titties.
It was a while ago, but all right. So we're about.
So there's the diction thing, which is a really, really, really big thing. But guess
Yeah.
what? You find somebody. You find a good diction book. You learn gobs from it. Learn how to IPA shit. Practice it, and then find somebody who can correct your mistakes, and then you can do a lot
Yeah,
that way.
and look, it's on you. Okay,
It's on you.
Someday you got to learn, and the faster you learn, the better. Singing is on you. How good you are at singing, how much you know about diction and languages and acting and music and harmony and theory and ear training and shit. That's on you.
Yeah, there's nobody responsible for making you succeed.
Yeah.
It's really
No.
it's really
You'll get your-
music is a pretty much a meritocracy, and you better be able to do your shit.
You'll get your 4-year degree, and you're either gonna like revert because you won't continue to grow at all, and you're gonna forget half the shit you learned, and it's gonna be as if it didn't happen, or you're gonna continue to grow. I don't see a lot of middle. You know, either you continue to grow in some way and you'll choose the areas in which you continue to grow, or you'll kind of just like revert and kind of just lose that knowledge. And so it's on you at some point. And so I don't see a lot of downsides to studying Germany. I don't know. I have to say,
No.
low risk. You get the perspective, the invaluable perspective of having lived in another culture. And like, if you fucking fail, you have a degree in Germany. Great. You go back to America. You're 24 years old, debt free. You have all this experience. You speak another language. Get your bachelor's in some shit. Get your bachelor's in marketing or whatever, you know? And then like you had that crazy life experience.
Or
that'll make you fucking interesting in interviews and
how
shit.
good's your German now after that much time? You can study in English in so many German universities if you want a business degree. You go get your business degree for free,
there's solid,
and then you go.
I mean, after Brexit, Frankfurt's become the new like central of Germany. Like German business and shit like that.
Totally.
The amount of construction they're doing out there.
It's crazy.
I mean, Germany, fuck music. Germany's not a bad place to be doing business.
Not bland at all.
Not bland at all. All right, so we're going to do our sponsors here in a second. We got quite a few to
Anyway,
announce.
wait. You just said it. It gets my overwhelming fucking endorsement. Get your asses to Germany and try to study.
All right, but how do we sum this up? Because I want to never answer this question again. We get so many emails about this, and I want to reference them to this episode. And so let's get it out, man. Like, how do we sum this up?
Summing it up is, if you get into a university, you're going to get a visa. It's not that big of a fucking deal. Not a problem.
Yeah.
You live in a Wohngemeinschaft, which is cheap as dirt, right? And you study, which is awesome because you get to live in the city and go to your university, right? You go to university, costs you fucking pennies.
You get a side job.
Yeah, and you get a side job, which is great. You work, you fucking
It's
press
gonna help
that
you. It's gonna
coffee
help you
down
learn
into
your
the
German.
shit, and then you make the. It works perfectly, right? You get there, you study, you learn. Make sure you stay on top of your languages because it's a Schwäche, a weakness.
Yeah, but
here.
you live in Germany, so and then you got your job at the movie theater, fucking scooping popcorn for fucking people.
Exactly.
So like you're gonna have a chance to learn your fucking German.
So you get a German girlfriend or boyfriend. You fucking learn German that way too, because that's the best way.
But we also know a lot of people that got jobs as waiters and waitresses and spoke barely any German.
Right.
You'd be surprised. Like you need to like hello, what would you like? Thank you. Like you don't need a lot. Germans they're way more understandable of weak language skills.
Plus, most of you aren't
Americans.
fucking idiots, so you can do it. You'll be able to do it. I say most of you because there definitely are some
And
fucking
worst case
idiots.
scenario, always keep an envelope with 300 euros in it.
Yep.
And when shit hits the fan, go to the airport, buy a fucking plane ticket,
and
go
get
the fuck home. You can be home in 8 hours from when you decide to go home. You know,
The
just
best
walk away.
The best summary you could give though is what you said: low risk way of achieving your dream.
Yeah, and the last thing I don't know how to say this so people fucking understand, but
Don't fucking write us about the. Go ahead.
but don't know, but like everybody's journey to Germany or a different country is different. You can't compare any of them. I've talked to no one who has something similar to me, and I can't compare any two experiences. You have to have the willingness to step into the unknown. You know what I mean? That is it.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
is it. And you won't be risking much. It's a safe place. Yeah? Have a place where you can sleep. Bring a little bit of money. Otherwise, it's so fucking risk-free.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
And if you're not willing to step into the abyss, then it's not for you.
Yeah, look,
you cannot learn everything before you come.
If you are a high schooler right now listening and you want to do something like this, every high schooler I know had a fucking like big graduation party and everybody comes and gives them big sweaty fistfuls of money, right? Tell everybody, I don't want presents. I want to go to Germany. Bring me as much fucking money as you can. Help me realize this dream. I want to go fucking audition for people. Boom, you got it. Do that fucking.
And in Germany,
do that shitty GoFundMe to Germany
do
recital.
That. Whatever, man.
Do all that.
Do that shit. But you could come to Germany if you had $3,000. You could last 3 months easy.
Easy.
Easy. You could last 3 months on like $800. You know what I mean? Like no, seriously. If you get, they have these like, so you can be like it's Zwischenmiete and Untermiete in a WG. So you have all the time people that go to America for 3 months to study at university, and they need someone to live in their WG. That's the first thing I did.
Right.
And so there was a room fully furnished, and some dude was studying in Florida, and it was like I paid his rent, which was $200. That's
Right.
3 months for $600 right there. You know, groceries in Germany are very cheap compared to America. It's very cheap to eat out in America
Except
compared
for
to Germany.
ramen noodles.
Yeah, ramen
noodles are wildly expensive
but they got these
compared to
packs
America.
of pasta with like pre-made sauce and everything in there for like 60 cents or something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
And if you shop sales, you know, it's pretty easy. And if you speak English, there's always side jobs. There's
Definitely.
always side jobs doing something, you know? And these days the world's so digital, you know, I was telling someone was asking me how to come to Germany, like, what can I do for money? And they were doing this money panic thing. I was like, look, set up an online studio in America right now. Get 10 voice students somewhere in the country. There's 350 million people. 10 people will learn voice from you, you know? And then move to Germany and just keep teaching them.
Yep.
You'll just have to be up a little bit late at night. But it's like, you can establish things before you come here.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what the fuck? Yeah.
Yeah, that seems like a good fucking summary. I would suggest it to anybody. Jared and I actually like living in the country. It's a nice place to live. Fuck it. Do not fucking go $100,000 in debt.
No, that's the
Don't
wrong way.
Fucking do it.
There are 1,000 right ways to learn singing, and there's a wrong way, and that's the wrong way.
Yeah.
You know, that's the wrong
These
way.
universities,
Yeah.
they won't want to promote sex, drugs, and opera anymore, but I'm sorry, guys. There are so many sad stories.
Yeah.
I can't hear any more of these sad
No,
fucking stories.
No. And again, I'm gonna fucking say it again. It's
Say it
on,
again.
It's on you.
Say it
It's
again.
on you. You can Google all this shit, man. It's none of it's secret information. The visa, the health insurance, how to move to Germany, how do I get a VG? When I moved to Germany, I got a VG with a German guy who had lived in New Zealand for 4 years. I wrote him in English, "Hey man, can I live with you?" He's like, "Yeah, man, cool." You know, we did a Skype call. He's like, "Yeah, you seem normal." I was like, "Great." You know, like when I came to Germany, I spoke not a word of German. I didn't know Tschüss. I didn't know anything.
Right.
Like literally,
I
knew-
remember, dude. I
Yeah.
remember you were raw.
Yeah,
You were raw.
I
with
raw
German.
dogged this entire country.
Raw.
Dude, I lived in Leer, Ostfriesland. You guys understand? Leer means empty in Germany. The city was called Empty. It was a fishing village I lived in. Nobody spoke English in this village. I remember, and the first place I had to go to was the foreigner's office. I sit in this guy's office, and he speaks German to me. And I'm like, I don't speak German. And he's like, how big are you? And I was like, what? You know, like I thought he was talking my dick size or something. But wie groß bist du? You know, is it like sind Sie? It's like, how tall are you? He was trying to fill out this fucking form. I got through it somehow. Like it's fucking possible, man. So you got to take the step. And there's no amount of planning. You got to take the leap. Be the baby birds, okay? Fly out of the nest. All right, we got to do our sponsors, dude, before we go.
Let's do these sponsies.
So,
Sponsies.
hold up, I got to look them up here. Yeah, so by the way, you can find us on Patreon if you want to join our secret sponsor section. Like I said, today, Mike and I are going to be swapping first-year stories. I think it's going to be a good one. We're going to get a bit lit and do this shit.
Already getting there.
And you can also go buy me a coffee. Also, we got these new stickers. We upgraded our stickers. Stickers are very popular. A lot of people buy stickers, and we got these new stickers that are raised so you can feel the ridges on that microphone.
Feel
of the logo.
the ridges.
Feel the ribs. All right, we got 3
can
sponsors.
feel
Are we
the
splitting
ridges.
these, or you want to do it, or what are we doing? You want to make weird noises while I do it? What do you want to?
Yeah, I'll make weird noises while you do it.
Where's the mouse? Oh, there it is. Okay. Hey, everybody! It's time for the secret sponsor section. Today we got 3 sponsors. Starting off the group, we got Pearl Seaman.
Seaman? No, that's not her name.
Seaman. Pearl Seaman. Yeah, yeah.
Seaman?
Pearl Seaman.
Seaman, pearl necklace seaman.
Necklace
Pearl
Seaman.
necklace seaman. Thank you. By the way, don't take your money back because I called you pearl necklace seaman.
Followed
please.
up Pearl, we got Adam Schmidt coming in
Schmidt!
second. And
It's all
then
about Schmidt.
ending
That's
up
a
the
fucking
group.
depressing ass movie, dude, about Schmidt. Do you know that movie?
No,
Go
shut
ahead,
the fuck
keep
up.
going,
Shut the
keep
fuck
going.
up. And then we got Michael Castaldi. Thank you to the 3 of you. You are now not a sponsor. All right, so let me say you guys' names normally. Pearl Seaman, Seaman. It looks German. But
Seaman
Pearl's
with
not a
2
German name.
EEs?
Yeah, also 2 N's.
Yeah.
Seemann.
Seemann.
Okay, Adam Schmidt and then Michael Castaldi. I don't know where you guys are from.
Pearl with an E at the end? Perle?
No. It's Pearl. I don't know. But the three of you, thank you so much. I've sent you your passwords to the secret sponsor section. For those of you who don't know, we have a secret sponsor section on our website. You get your personalized login. That took us a long time to create. But you have this personalized login. You go and you type your email, you make a personalized password, and then you can cruise our secret sponsor section, which has now got 4 separate seasons of content. You always get an additional podcast to every podcast we release every 2 weeks.
That's right.
So you immediately double your podcasts you can listen to. And then beyond that, we also have like videos and behind the scenes stuff, but also we are doing live streams now. Our last live stream we did on Christmas is very successful, and I think in 2 weeks or something, pretty soon here, 2-3 weeks, we will be doing our next live stream with our secret sponsors. That's on YouTube and that's interactive, and it's only available through a secret link that you click in our secret sponsor section, and then you interact with us live. We basically do a podcast, but we have the questions up on the screen, and you can interact with us through Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and just chat with us while we do it. Lots of other cool stuff. That's on Patreon. You can find that on our website under our donate tab. To the people that joined today, thank you so much. To all of our people that have been sponsoring us, some of you have been sponsoring us for 4 years by now.
4 years.
Thank you so much. We've said it a million times. I'll say it again. This podcast would not be possible,
it would
without
disappear.
our secret sponsors.
If you guys went away, it would not continue another week. It would not continue another. We might do a goodbye episode and really say the shit that we want to say.
But yeah, so thank you so much for your sponsorship, really. I mean, there's lots of ways to support the arts, but this is one way that it's like it directly goes to cutting into the cost of the podcast, which still is way beyond our sponsorship. But anyway.
You guys are going to have to listen to the secret sponsor section to see how you like the hot salsa.
Yeah, we're going to crack up these salsas and then swap some weird fucking stories. So everybody take care of yourselves. Bleibt gesund, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Tschüss.